Hello, I'm John McAllister with the John McAllister Sports Report. Today, I'm going to go visit with a recently retired head football coach from Canton, Glenoak High School. Scott Garcia has been a good friend of mine for probably 15, 16 years. As I got to know him and worked with him at Glenoak. Tough, but caring. If he got all and concerned about his players, but I will try. But it goes back to those guys. And he got out of coaching, like I think he was 17 years and got out of coaching for a couple of years and got back into it. But now the other day, he's formally retired as head football coach. So we'll learn more about what I like about it is his philosophy. You know, you can read those things, accomplishments, and you can get those any place. But you can't always get a coach's philosophy and outlook on life, outlook at how he helps players. And I think that's huge in today's society. Please sit back and enjoy my video podcast with Scott Garcia, recently retired head football coach at Canton Glenoak High School. As I said earlier in the introduction, my guest today is Scott Garcia, recently retired head football coach at Canton Glenoak High School over in the Massillon, Canton area, obviously. And Scott's 17 years.
Yes.
As a head coach.
Yes.
And seen a lot, done a lot, and obviously it was in a little bit of generational football. But the changes have been going on, and Scott's realized all that. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, doing great. Just wrapped up a season, and retired last week, and it's been wild, to hear from former players and coaches and so many people over the last week. It brings back so many memories. It's been awesome.
And that'll continue. That'll continue. You know that for a long time.
Yeah.
Somebody will see you on the street and say, Coach, you don't remember me, but.
Right.
You say, I do remember you.
Yeah. And then, all those years start to run together.
It's really good. Young guy. Now, you retired, and I told you earlier, we talk a little bit about some numbers, but how many wins, Scott?
It was 93.
93 wins,
yeah.
and a handful of losses. Most of those are in your last comeback, wasn't it?
Yeah. We, when I came back and tried to get the program back, and I think we accomplished that. Record wise, we had one good year. Since I've been back, and just trying to build the numbers back up and get youth programs back in place in middle school, and we accomplished a lot. So, I think down the road here, it'll pay off for somebody.
That's good, and somebody will get the results of your hard work.
Yeah, honestly. That's, you always want to leave a place better than you found it, and we did that with facilities and
right.
And a lot of good things. So it's been a pretty good ride.
That's really good, and you play in such a competitive area.
Right.
I mean, I know Southwest Ohio and Cleveland and Southern Ohio, but boy, Northeast Ohio, your area is pretty competitive.
Yeah, and our league, being in the federal league is tough, and we never shied away since I've been here from playing anybody. I mean, we played Massillon every year, and St. Ignatius we had on the schedule. Toledo, Whitmer, Lakota West down in Cincinnati. We've played some pretty good people through the years.
I remember you playing Massillon at Massillon, and you guys really hit hard over there. I'm trying to see who I was evaluating from your maybe Briante. Maybe was I doing him at the time?
Yeah, we had a couple guys back then. Now that you were looking at
not Jones. What's his last name?
Dunn.
Done, yeah.
Right.
I think that's who I was there to see, plus a couple of Maslin guys. And I was so impressed with your hitting and your good hitting, not illegal, just old hard football on both sides. So
Yeah,
that's what
that's
I always take back from Glenoak, you know.
right.
And then of
We
course,
always tried to be the most physical team on the field every time we played. And even when we were down here the last few years, we still played physical.
yeah. Well, it's such a tribute to you, and such a tribute. Now, if Heartline keeps going, you guys, Canton Glenoak will be a shrine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's doing a great job down there.
Yeah,
Great job.
I've
Yeah,
known Brian since he was in high school, and in the scrimmage he was a senior, I think, and he was mad. You guys had scored 5 touchdowns. He was mad because Jack took him out of the game, a scrimmage.
yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
He was upset on the sidelines. I said, Hartline, you're up by 5 touchdowns. I should be out there, he said. I should be out there. I remember that. Okay.
Yeah.
Football, let's talk. What I really like to talk about are some of your ideas and philosophies, okay? I always figure people can go to the newspaper and read all that stuff, like
right.
how many years, how many records, and all these other how many players. I read someplace, it's kind of neat. One of your things you hang your hat on is you beat Maslin and Canton McKinley and somebody else three different times in the same year. I forget who the other school was. I guess I don't have it written down here. But anyway, 3 different years you beat both those guys.
Right.
That's accomplishment.
The schools like that have so much tradition and so much firepower, and it was always, to me, it was always fun playing in those big games like that. That's why we always scheduled the way we scheduled.
Yeah.
You come and you play somebody from Canada or wherever. I mean, some of those games just weren't fun to me, and I think you didn't get much out of them. So we always like to schedule the best, and when we're able to beat those guys, it makes it so much better.
That's such a great philosophy. When I was a head coach, and I'll shut up here. When I was a head coach, I hated to play the teams that were lesser than us or equal with us.
Right.
Because you shouldn't win.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
You should win. When you play the big schools in our area up here, Oak Harbor, well, you'd have to be lucky to win. But that's who I really got charged up for.
No, I'm the same way.
I didn't want to play those guys that could beat you and that easily. Okay, Scott, we look back. What's your core coaching philosophy? What would be, as you look back, what's your basic core coaching philosophy?
I would say, we always taught our kids 4 different things. And obviously there's a lot more to it than this, but if we could do these things, I thought we'd have a chance to be successful. And, number 1 is just doing what's right. I always tell the kids, you learn what's right back in kindergarten, just following rules and doing all the little things that you need to do to be successful. And then the second thing was respect, respecting each other, respecting your opponents, your officials, teachers, your parents, all those, things that go into that. I thought, especially at our school, we have so much diversity at this place that, it was important here to be able to respect each other and respect each other's beliefs. And we have kids that come from all different types of backgrounds, different socioeconomic statuses, and it's a different place to coach at. And I thought that was always real important. The third thing is how you're going to respond to adversity. That's obviously a big thing in life. There's so much that the game teaches you. If you learn how to respond to those situations in a positive way, then that was another reason that we had some success. And then, like we talked earlier, the last thing I always talk to our teams about being the most physical team on the field. No matter what position you play, you're going to play that, play the game the way it's supposed to be played, clean, honest, hard hitting. And, and how that translates into life is carrying yourself with confidence. And so if we, could teach those 4 things, I've always thought we had a chance to be successful. And then, all the X's and O's and all that stuff that came next.
That's super. Okay, you've given some advice. Now flip that back, and what are one or two pieces of advice you got as a coach? What somebody told you? Because we all, as head coaches, we've all gotten advice. But are there two? Maybe that's just you two things that really jump out at you.
Yeah, there was back I started, when I first was an assistant coach at Timken High School with Lynn Waffler, who was a longtime coach over at McKinley. And he was a guy that I learned a lot from and respected, and always talked about, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
And I always thought that was a big thing. When the kids knew that you cared about them and you cared about other things besides the football field, they'd do anything for you. And to have them, know that you would do anything for them, they'd do anything for you. And just that mutual respect and treating people the right way, I thought that was a huge thing.
That's really. I'm sorry.
Okay, and then I coached with Jack Rose for a long time, and Jack was a big believer in everything was done first class. The way you dress, the way you look, the way you left the opponent's locker room. You left it better than you found it. All those little details that Jack was so good at, I carried that all the way through too.
That's really good. That's good. I'm sure, with advice like that, I'm sure you have a lot more, but that's really super. Okay. Now, was there ever a time where I call them scrapbooks when I do with the players, any big picture moment for you in the coaching that you will always talk about when you get together, something that jumps out at you? Can you pick one?
Oh, there's so many of them.
I'm sorry.
Just the big games like we talked earlier.
Okay.
Going over to Massillon and winning a game in Massillon was always special.
Yeah.
I coached over at Massillon with Tom Stacy, and a big moment when I was over there was beating St. Ignatius up at St. Ignatius, and they take those buses back into downtown Massillon, and it's unbelievable over there, and just all those big wins really stick out.
Okay, that's really good. Okay, now let's go now. As you retire and you maybe drink some coffee in a couple of years and get back into it, but what part of the game is still interesting to you? What curious about? What part of the game would you like to figure out more about?
You're always learning.
Right.
We just the last few years dabbled into the RPO stuff that's out there,
Okay.
and it was always one of those things where I never, we've had some good quarterbacks through the years, but we haven't had a bunch of them that could do a lot of different things. I wish we had the Worstel kid back.
Right, I remember that.
Yeah, back around 2000. What was that? 11, 12, somewhere in there. And he's a kid I would like to do some things that we've done the last few years with. So that's one. Something that we talked about this year. Our numbers were down, and everybody talks about these load management and all this stuff in the NBA, and how kind of it's perceived as being soft. And
Yeah.
I think there's a little something to that. When you take a kid, we had a two-way player, fullback, linebacker, and this year he was on every special team just because our numbers were down.
Right.
He was on offense, defense. He played every snap. The accumulation of those snaps through the year. We figured out if you're on the punt team, you're going to get about 200 extra reps through practice and the game just on that punt team.
Right.
And I think maybe keeping track of some of those kind of things, that's something that I've never really even thought about in 34 years of coaching until this year. So, I mean, there's a lot of different things out there that, I'm sure I'm going to go to people's practices and hang around different places and just, see how people do things a little bit differently than we did.
Well, that's really good. Scott, I think one of the biggest things for me, I haven't coached for a while, I'm 77 years old, but is how they've changed practices, how when we started, boy, it was man on man, bull in the ring, and all these kind of things, and
Oh yeah.
hitting. But I used to, and I wasn't big into that, but we did it because that's what you did.
Right. Right.
But I would tell guys, a kid's either going to hit or not going to hit.
Right.
Now they're going to go one-on-one while you're watching them. As soon as you turn your back, they're going to back down. Now they're going to, now not everybody, but a lot of kids. And I think now the way they practice, I didn't like it early when I was going out and evaluating kids. But that's not a bad idea, I don't think.
Right. No, I think so too.
Yeah, and stay healthy.
Yeah.
Stay healthy.
That kind of ties in what I just said,
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah. Okay. How do you how did you handle adversity, say a loss or a tough game, or how did you handle that, Coach? What advice could you give that you did that would help young coaches?
You know what? Something I'm not very good at. I hate losing. I mean, I think we all do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's one of those things that I wasn't very good at it. I really wasn't. They kind of hung around a little bit longer, towards the last few years than they did, maybe previously. But I think probably the biggest advice would be is, when you have a loss, number one, kind of figure out why, right? I mean, is it scheme? Is it something that you did in practice? Is it were they not ready? Was there something in your preparation that got you beat? But I would say don't let it beat you twice would be you know what I mean? I think you got to come back Monday, you got to flush it, make your corrections, and move on to the next opponent. And sometimes those losses hang around and they can get you again.
Yeah, that's hard to do. That's hard to do. I was told when I was a young coach, after you win or lose, make sure you talk to your wife first. After anything, have her make sure, and good coaches' wives will do, but make sure you talk to her first so you don't say anything stupid to the media or anybody else.
Right. No, you're 100% right. I always did that.
Yeah.
I knew where she was going to be, and I always did that.
It's really a good point. Now, I would tell you, my first year up north as a head coach, we're 7-3. They won 3 games the prior 3 years. So 7-3. Man, I hugged my wife, talked to the media. Okay, the next year, we were 0-8 and couldn't win the last 2 games. You know how hard it is to talk to your wife when that happens, man.
Yeah, it sure is.
Okay. Let's talk about retirement. This is really good for me. I love these interviews because I learned so much. What are you planning? I know it's not fair to you, Scott. What are your plans right now to do after retirement?
Right now, I really don't have a plan.
Good.
I'm going to take a little time here and, kind of, I've had some, bunch of different people call and, like, you want to do this, want to do that. And right now I'm just going to kind of, I'm going to ride out the year and finish up as the AD and then take a little time and see what I really want to do. I think just a change of scenery is going to be good for me. I've been here, whether as obviously I went to school here and been part of the program for a long time as an assistant and then the head coach for 17 years. So I think I just need a change of scenery. And I think that's probably good for everybody.
I didn't bring it up, but you can just tell me next question. But what about AD?
It's something.
Next question.
Yeah. We're going to see here over the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now, a couple more pieces of advice. What advice, if you could leave the players in general that watch, what would you tell them who are looking forward to playing college ball? What would you tell them? I read someplace you produced at least 45 players that have gone on to college ball. So that was back, I don't know what it is now, but we'll say 45 to 50. But what advice would you give to the kids that come to you and say, well, I'd like to play college football?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be different. You're going to go back down on the bottom of the totem pole and you're starting all over again. And, it's a lot of times it's not easy. I mean, it's not. I mean, your first 6 months are probably the hardest 6 months you're going to have in your life when you go to college and play college football, and it's one of those things where, you know, not only do you have to do everything right off the field, in the classroom, I mean, all the different things that you need to manage when you go off on your own, you have to be ready for. And that's probably the biggest thing, is getting through those first 6 months.
Yeah, I think, and even we have a girl here in Upper Sandusky that playing college basketball, Division III, and I don't know what's going to happen, because they practice at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they practice again at 5 o'clock. 2 practices, and they're supposed to work out in between, and I think it's she's not used to that.
Right.
I would tell you the joke about boy. Well, he's from that area, Sugar Creek area. Went up to Michigan. He did Joel. He did a really good job, and I was talking to him. He ended up starting for a couple of years there at the end, and I said, Joel, what's the difference? He goes, well, when we were going to high school, we'd practice in the morning, go home, take a nap, watch TV, and come back and practice in the afternoon or evening. And he said, when I went to Michigan, he said, we got there at 7:30 and we left at 10:30 at night. And you didn't leave the place.
Right.
Like
you're locked in.
It's in all levels, Division II, Division III. I mean, it's a business.
Yeah,
it's a hard business. It's hard. Yeah. Last question. What will you miss most about being a head coach?
I think just the interaction with everybody. I mean, there's blending all those personalities together, whether it's with the coaching staff or the kids or the parents, or just making all that work. I think I always loved the organization of it, as far as setting the schedule and seeing a plan come into place, and going through that whole process of the weight room, transitioning into the summer, and when you get into the season, the whole the game planning, and being with the guys, the coaches. That's pretty cool to be with a lot of guys that you have a lot of respect for.
Boy, the way it's set up now with coaches and football programs and 7-on-7s and all year, it's tough.
It's different. It's different.
It's got to be different. And where's the money coming from? Where's these assistant coaches? You got to pay them more, because they're giving up full-time summer. I mean, total summers now instead of part-time and things like that.
Yeah, they let us do that mini spring football. I mean, we're out there in May this past year, having full practices and running those college combines, and the whole that whole part of it, and then into the 7-on-7 season. It's not like it used to be, where you showed up and lifted some weights in June and July, and then you start up in August.
It was June. June was my getaway month. The first Monday after 4th of July. See you, Mom. Business.
Right.
We would see, but that was it. That's in July. Heck, that's crazy now. I do have one more question. Okay. With your 30 years marriage to your wife, 35 or something in there someplace, isn't it?
It's it's going to be 33.
30. Oh, I'm wrong. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. What do you guys look forward to in the next chapter together?
Well, we had our youngest son just got married this past summer. So I'm sure, maybe some grandchildren here down the road would be pretty cool. I think just being able to go somewhere like at a different time of year. We always, like the last week of June, we always took off the last week of June, went to the beach somewhere. So you're pretty much locked into that week. And I think to go away maybe during football season and go to a college game somewhere down in Florida, or out to California or wherever, and see some different things that you've never seen before.
Yeah, and don't forget, pull some of your cards out, because you had a lot of friends that have played and probably still involved with those places. So
Oh yeah,
make
yeah.
sure you reach out to those guys. Coach, this is Scott Garcia. This is a great interview. I really, really appreciate it.
No, thank you. I mean, you did a lot of great things through the years, helping our kids, and I appreciate you too.
Well, that's good. I don't like to ask dumb questions like, where's your favorite place to eat? And all those things. What favorite socks do you have and stuff like that. That's not what I do. Scott, again, thank you very much. I
All
appreciate it.
right. Thank you.